Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Boom Broadcasting presents Three from Deep. I'm your host, Jason Colenso. Welcome to the show. Guys, here we are, Monday, start of a brand new week. Had a heck of a time here last week with all those trades and everything. I think our minds are still blown with Luka and everything going down. So here we are, about 4 more days till the All-Star break. I know that is going to be exciting, the All-Star weekend coming up. But what are we going to talk about today? But first things first, Boom Broadcasting Network, Three from Deep. I'm your boy Jason, a.k.a. NY. But like and subscribe, guys. We need your love. We need your support. I appreciate all the love and support I've been getting for doing this show. Thank you guys very much. Drop a comment. Let me know what y'all are thinking. I want to hear from you. So thank you guys very much. But first thing we're going to talk about here is trade dividends already paying. We're going to talk a little bit about maybe AD, Jimmy Butler, Zach LaVine, De'Aaron Fox. We're going to get into that. Those guys paying dividends already. We also had a rescinded trade. Does that benefit somebody? Or does that hurt somebody? We'll discuss that here real quick. Then I like doing my top 5. So I was thinking the other day, I'm a huge Marvel fan, so I'm going to do my top 5 favorite Marvel movies series. I'm going to throw both in there because I got a couple of each in there. So my favorite Marvel movies or series, I'm going to jump in there. I want to hear your guys. And then we'll talk about some games that we have, leading up to the All-Star break. And we got to talk about those Houston Rockets, man. 6-game losing streak. Oof, that's rough. After I said something positive about them, they've just gone on this nasty streak. So that concerns me a little bit. But we'll get into that discussion here. So first things first, guys, those trades. Coming off that week, we had some big trades. We had some monster deals that went down that these teams are hoping are going to pay dividends. The Los Angeles Lakers are hoping Luka's going to pay dividends. Right now, let's talk about AD in Dallas. He had his first game the other night. Amidst all the protests, because it was crazy. I don't know if you guys saw any of the videos. Dallas fans were definitely out in droves outside the stadium protesting the Luka trade. So this is going to get ugly, and it's gotten ugly, which is crazy to think. So Dallas plays Houston. Dallas wins 116-105. AD having an AD performance, 26 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists. But the biggest issue is late in the third quarter, he got hurt again. A lower body injury, they were calling it. I know he had that ab injury not that long ago coming from the Lakers. He says it's okay. He says it's not serious. But is this a sign of things to come for Dallas? I mean, y'all should have known this is what you signed up for. You got a fantastic player that can get you 20, get you 15 rebounds, but he's also going to get hurt. A lot. Mr. Glass. You breathe on him, he falls down. But this was Houston's 6th loss in a row. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But Dallas, was this the right decision to move on from your 25-year-old mega superstar to get an aging big man that has body troubles? And to add insult to the injury, your fan base literally wants to burn the court down. I mean, it is unbelievable how much hate has been generated towards Nico Harrison, towards the Dallas Mavericks with this trade. I haven't seen anything like this in a long time. I know there's been some protests. There's ownership groups out there that do some suspect things or have some drama. But I've never seen anything like this, trading away your superstar player. But AD had himself a good game, 26, 16, and 7. That's what they signed up for. They played well. They won the game. But, man, you got to stay healthy. They need a healthy AD to make this trade worth it. They have to make noise in the playoffs to make this trade worth it. If not, they will never hear the end of it. This trade, I feel, unfortunately, is going to curse this franchise. They're going to be the Dallas Mavericks of old throughout the 80s and early 90s before they got Dirk, where they just toiled in anonymity, which is a shame. You know, they built up something very special there in Dallas. But AD hurt already. A sign of things to come. We shall see. We also had another debut. Jimmy Butler had his debut with the Golden State Warriors the other night. 25 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and a win. Golden State beat the Bulls 132-111. It was the Bulls, Jimmy's original team, which is fitting that his first game would be against the team that drafted him. It's funny how things kind of come together like that. Steph Curry dropped 34. But the biggest issue I have in this game is the Bulls were winning this game. And then Steph Curry put the team on his back and led them to a victory. I know it's your first game there, Jimmy, but you paid some dividends. You gave Steph a little bit of help. But Steph still had to be the man and lead that team to victory. Is Jimmy Butler the answer in Golden State? I don't think so. I think you overpaid for an aging superstar whose sole reason for even smiling and coming to the Golden State Warriors is because you got your bag. You got your contract extension. You didn't want to go to Golden State. You only wanted to go to Phoenix. You didn't want to go to Milwaukee or Memphis, where I think you could have thrived and made it into the playoffs and played with some really good teams. But you didn't. You chose, Golden State ended up being where you signed your deal. You got your 2-year extension, $121 million. I was texting one of the Boom Broadcasting individuals here not too long ago about this trade. And I said the only reason why Jimmy was smiling in that press conference is because he had a big bag of money sitting under his desk, under his chair there. But Jimmy Butler did pay some dividends. He did drop 25 points. I think he's going to give Steph Curry some help. But what Jimmy Butler are you going to get? Are you going to get that dog that will just blood, sweat, and tears and drag you through the playoffs and put you on his back and do everything you need him to do? Or are you going to get a 35-year-old aging superstar whose sole motivation was getting that last big check? It's going to remain to be seen. Golden State, they need to make their way up in the standings right now. So, Jimmy, I hope you found peace, brother. But Steph, I don't know if that was the answer. I think you still need a little more help. Then De'Aaron Fox, he won that first game, paying dividends. He won that first game as a San Antonio Spur, but then lost the next two. Spurs lost to Orlando, 112-111. He only had 9 points, 9 assists against Orlando. He did have a game-winning shot. Unfortunately, it was after the buzzer. Friday night, Spurs lost to the Hornets. Last second shot from Miles Bridges, 117, 116. I'm sorry. Friday night is when he hit the shot. See, I can't even read my notes. Friday night, he hit the shot against the Hornets because Miles Bridges hit that shot, 117, 116. Fox hit that game winning shot at the end, but unfortunately, it was after the fact. He did have 22 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists in that Friday night game, and then proceeded Saturday to lose against the Spurs. Lose against Orlando, 111, 112. So De'Aaron Fox paying some dividends, but lost 2 out of 3 right now. You're playing with Victor Wembanyama. I picked you guys as my dark horse coming out of that West. Let's step it up a little bit. Come on. De'Aaron Fox, you're better than 9 points. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for him to get acclimated because it is a different game there in San Antonio that they play. But and then let's jump down to the LaVine end of that trade. Thursday night, lost to Portland 102-108. LaVine did have 22, 4 and 4. Valanciunas, who I think is going to end up being their best pickup, because you talk about being tall in the West, and they got some length in the West. He had 6 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, but lost Thursday night. And then Saturday won, dropped 22. His best game in a win. Zion had 40. Talk about someone I thought should have been traded at the trade deadline. I really, really thought the Pelicans were going to move on from Zion. Interesting to see LaVine. I think the Kings, 9th in the West. Mavs and the Clippers are there. So can the Kings make some noise? Because I still think their team got almost better, even though they got rid of Fox. You still have Sabonis. You still have Monk. Now you got LaVine, Valanciunas. You've got a tall team. I think you need to be tall in the West. I think that's what's going to hurt the Lakers going forward. Now, talking about paying dividends, we'll talk about Monday's game because Luka, of course, hasn't played yet. He's slated to play Monday night. We'll discuss that when we discuss the games coming up here. But I want to jump in. I'm a huge Marvel fan, guys, and I like sprinkling a little bit of pop culture into my shows because, basketball is full of pop culture references. Basketball is movies, music. It all kind of blends together a little bit. And I'm a huge Marvel fan. I collected comic books when I was younger. So to see them on the big screen and to see the way that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has kind of put those stories together and woven them all together to make these small storylines into one big storyline, I've enjoyed it immensely. So I'm going to give you my top 5 Marvel movies / series, because right now with Disney Plus, you're cranking out series, they're cranking out movies. So it's hard not to enjoy. So I'm going to give you my top 5. My number 5. I'm going to start it with a double because I think these two should be put together. The Avengers Infinity War Endgame. Endgame was one of the best Marvel movies. You got to play them both so you at least know what's going on. But that Avengers Endgame was phenomenal. Robert Downey Jr. with the snap at the end to beat Thanos. I think everybody in the theater cheered when that moment happened. So Avengers, Endgame, Infinity War, those 2 movies put together into one, I was one of my favorites. So that's number 5. Number 4, Spider-Man No Way Home. You talk about a huge movie, and this whole multiverse, to bring it together in that movie where you had the 3 different Spider-Men, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland, people lost their minds. and I was included in one of them. What a phenomenal way to bring all those movies into it, the Spider-Verse, to kind of bring that stuff into it. It was a great storyline, unbelievable movie, nostalgic slash entertaining, and I think it's going to reverberate because now they want to do another Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. They want to do another Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. So I think nobody knew that this movie was going to blow up like it did, and it did, and it was phenomenal to bring in some of the villains with Doc Ock, Sandman, Electro, the Green Goblin. Everybody they brought in there was a great movie. Number 4. Number 3, Captain America: The First Avenger. That was a great movie. Chris Evans played Captain America spot on. It was a really good movie. Great storyline. I think we all wish we can just jump in a little machine and hit the button, come out looking like Chris Evans. I know I do, but a little short for that. But Captain America: First Avenger, still very, very entertaining. That's my number 3 movie. Number 2, I'm going to throw one of the series in there, and we'll go Loki. What a great use of the multiverse, kind of behind the scenes. Tom Hiddleston as Loki knocked it out of the park. At the end there, him controlling the timeline, being the god of time. But what an amazing, amazing show, and what an amazing series. Loki, one of my favorites. It's hard to beloved a villain, and he knocked it out the park. And my number 1 Marvel movie, the one that started it all, Iron Man, the first one. Robert Downey Jr., I remember watching the movie, and that was it. I was hooked. I said, Marvel did it. They knocked this one off the park. The Avengers Initiative, they're going to do more, and then it just rolled on from there. And then now the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a steamroller going through all these movies, and the storylines, phenomenal. So my number 1 is the original Iron Man, because you don't know where you're going until you know where you've been, and that Iron Man started the fire. So number 5, Avengers Infinity War Endgame. Number 4, Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 3, Captain America: The First Avenger. Number 2, Loki. And number 1, the original Iron Man. So guys, drop me a comment. Let me hear, if you're a Marvel fan, what were your top 5 Marvel movies or series? So be curious to hear it, please. So let me know. We're going to just take a quick jump into some other news. We just hit not that long ago. Again, I record the show on Sundays, so this just hit right before I started the show. Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be out until after the All-Star break. Will not play in the All-Star game. So be curious to see who takes his spot. We did talk about some snubs in the All-Star preview a couple weeks ago. So I wonder who's going to take his spot, but that's not good for the Bucks. Hopefully this is not that serious and that he'll be back healthy after the All-Star break. But yeah, Giannis, big news. Giannis not playing in the All-Star game, hurt before the All-Star break. So let's jump into some games, guys. Monday night. I don't think any of the other games, nobody really cares, because Monday night, 10:30, against the Utah Jazz, the age of Luka begins. If it's being reported that Luka Doncic will play Monday night and is ready to go, it is going to be weird seeing him in a gold jersey standing next to LeBron. I tell you right now, I don't think this trade really hasn't hit, and it's amazing that even a week later, everybody's still shook from this trade. Seeing AD playing and all that drama in Dallas. It was like, yeah, okay. But I think once Luka hits the court, that's when this is all going to really come together and really be real for a lot of people. But what can we expect from Luka? He's been out about a month and a half, almost 2 months now. He's playing on a new team. He's playing on a team that's LeBron's team. He's not the alpha dog anymore, which he's used to being. He doesn't have a Klay Thompson spot up shooter. He doesn't have Kyrie, his ride or die guy. He is playing with LeBron James, the king. But I'm just curious to see how this is going to go. My prediction is I think it's going to be about 24 points, 6 and 6. We'll go 6 rebounds, 6 and 6. I think he's going to have a halfway decent game because it's hard for him not to. Of course, it's against the Utah Jazz, so I think that helps too. You're not playing against a superpower team, so I think that's going to help him. It's going to take him a minute to get their feet. Lakers still have a lot of questions at the center position. And let's talk about those Lakers. You would have thought they would have the center position kind of with somebody, but it looks like we have a rescinded trade. So last week, Charlotte sends Mark Williams to the Lakers in a package that included Dalton Connect, which I thought was a big mistake. I think Dalton Connect is a good young player. I didn't agree with that, especially because I thought Mark Williams was kind of suspect. He was young, but hasn't really done anything, and I thought you gave up a little too much for him. Desperate, trying to get a center. But it looks like Mark Williams failed his physical, so the Lakers rescinded the trade, which I think ends up working out for the Lakers, guys. I really think they can find a center somewhere else. I think they can find somebody else to stand in. I don't think Williams was the answer. I think Connect is going to do much better being on the Lakers as opposed to toiling in Charlotte. But that was interesting to see because it's been a long time since I've seen a rescinded trade, especially due to health. You would have thought the Luka AD trade would have been rescinded or something to health, or that the NBA would have stepped in because, the NBA has stepped in trades before. The Chris Paul trade, trying to get him out to LA, the trade that never was, that was nixed a few years back. But very excited. Monday night, Luka Doncic on the Lakers. Let me know what you think, guys. Drop me a comment. What do you think he's going to do tonight? What do you think this means for the Lakers moving forward? As LeBron shuffles out in the twilight of his career, now you have to build around Luka. Does this make, LA a destination? LA's always been a destination, but there's a lot of good teams out there. There's a lot of good players. LA hasn't been the destination that it once was. Do you think that Luka being in LA is going to make the Lakers the number one destination for free agents? Be interesting to see. Also tonight, 8:00, you got the Bucks versus the Warriors, but no Giannis. So we'll see what Jimmy does his second game as a Warrior. Will he help lift and do some of the heavy lifting with Steph, so Steph doesn't have to do it alone? And then 8:30, you got the Kings versus the Mavs. I haven't seen the report yet if AD is going to play, but I would be surprised if he does. I would think the Mavs are probably going to sit him till after the All-Star break. But we'll see. They may start him. But I think the Kings have a really, really good team. We'll see those dividends paid. And then Tuesday night, Knicks versus the Pacers. I'm really nervous about those Pacers, man. That's a good team. Pascal Siakam. Tyrese Halliburton. They got a really good team there. And then Grizz versus the Suns. I think if the Grizz blow these guys out, KD, why? Why did you stay in Phoenix? To get blowed out all the time? To be down in the West? Probably not even going to make the playoffs? That was still curious. Still wondering why KD chose to not want to go back to Golden State. Too much baggage? Can't handle it? I don't know, KD. What's going on? So you got that Tuesday night. And then Wednesday night, we got some good games Wednesday night. Spurs versus Celtics. Wemby and Fox playing the champs. Knicks versus Hawks. We got that back-to-back going against Ice Tray and them Hawks. Lakers versus Jazz, the next Luka game. They play again. And then Warriors versus Mavs. Clay playing against his former team amidst the AD drama. I like it. And then you got the Grizzlies Clippers. And then Thursday night, last night of NBA action before the All-Star break, you got Warriors Rockets. Man, Rockets, whoo, sliding. Went from second in the West, they're now fifth. 6-game losing streak. What happened to the Rockets? They were playing really good basketball. I know they're a young team, so I hope they can weather this storm. That's where I think Jimmy Butler should have went, because that's the kind of team that needs a little veteran leadership, young talent to be molded. The Rockets, you have a chance. Right the ship before the All-Star break. Take a deep breath and then come out swinging after the All-Star break. But Thursday night got Warriors Rockets. Big game, and then Thunder T-Wolves. Chet Holmgren back in the mix for OKC, which they really need Chet to play well. The West is very long. You got Wemby, you got Joker, you got Chet. Valanciunas to the Kings. So West got some length. That's why the Lakers, I think, are in trouble. So, guys, I appreciate you jumping on here with me real quick. I know we're kind of winding down a little bit. We're getting into that All-Star break. So I'm hoping I can kind of keep this fresh and exciting for you here, get you through the All-Star break. And then once the All-Star break is done, I think we are better prepare ourselves. This is going to be an exciting finish to the season, getting up to the playoffs. You got a lot of teams that are going to be jockeying for position to get to that promised land. Guys, I want to hear who you think is going to be there at the end. Does Boston make a return? Does OKC and Cleveland, since they're the top two teams right now, is that our NBA Finals? What do you think? I want to hear it. But guys, I appreciate you jumping on here with me. I'm Jason Colenso, your host from 3 from Deep. Check me out on Boom Broadcasting 3 times a week. Yes, that's 3 from Deep, 3 times a week. Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays, 12 p.m. Catch us on demand, the Boom Broadcasting Network on the YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, guys, you are missing out. There is a lot of great content on the Boom Broadcasting Network. We talk about football, basketball, baseball, everything. Wrestling, got some awesome, dope wrestling shows. Mouthing Off with Mike and his wrestling show. Sean Lucas with his wrestling show, and his other show he does, It Stinks, where he talks about TV shows. Chris LaDuca, the Dugout Debrief. Baseball season's coming up. Pitchers and catchers coming in pretty soon here. Got Aaron with the Gridiron Address, which I tend to jump on there every once in a while. So I appreciate Aaron having me on there on the Gridiron Address, talking about football. Football season's basically over now. So now we have basketball, college basketball, a little golf till we get into baseball. So thank you guys very much for joining me. I appreciate it. I will see you on Wednesday at 12 p.m. Like and subscribe. Hit me up. Peace.